Hello, Frugal Force. Once again, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty. And just so you know, this isn't a road rage. I'm actually at my home office. I had the day off, and I'm watching both kids because it was a snow day. And so if you hear kids in the background, that's why. And that's okay. I'm absolutely having a great day with them. So anyway, for today's road rage slash, it's more of just a discussion thing because I'm not actually on the road, which is probably a great thing because the weather sort of sucks. But the roads, I'm sure, are pretty clear. You know, first I want to address the whole issue of this contention amongst everybody in the comics community. And first I want to start and say that's actually a good thing. If it's quiet and everyone's agreeing, how are things going to ever progress and get better? So it's good that there's things being brought up. Now, I've also been asked a lot about a block list, and you know, I've talked to Yellow Flash about this, so I'm not, talking behind his back or anything. And so first I'd like to say, I commend him for having the guts to do something like that and to share his views. And I think he has every right to share his views and should have the right to continue to share his views. Now, with that said, I'm not a big fan of block lists. And here's the reason why. Is because that block list is going to affect other people that wasn't their fault because of that particular person. And that they mouthed off and said some absolutely ridiculous, silly things. And, it happens with companies. And that's why I'm trying to look at it from a rational perspective. It would say you buy any kind of product, a bottle of shampoo, a picture frame. You don't want to give your dollars to people that are funding things and saying things you don't believe in. I understand that. But unless you can look at every single person, what they're doing with their paycheck, and what they're saying that has some part of dealing with that product, there's no way we can do that. So saying that I'm not going to buy this because of the X or Y is not really plausible. Now, with that said, I'm going to be a hypocrite, okay? Because I think sometimes there is maybe somebody in particular that says something that really does, go against you and offends you greatly. And you say, I'm not going to buy a product because of that. I could understand that too. For example, if a guy calls you Pixels, that would be Dan Slott, then, and you don't feel like he's treating you properly, you have the right not to buy a product that he makes. So that I completely understand. The problem with the list is maybe it doesn't give enough information. I don't know, but he's allowed to share his views, and once again, I applaud him for it. So I just, I'm not big into, I think it's a case-by-case basis, and I think what he's doing is he's providing information for people to say, hey, these are people I'm putting on my block list, and you might want to check them out too. And that's perfectly fine. Once again, even though I'm not a big fan of block lists and things like that, I support anybody's right to be able to do one, and I think I understand his intent on that as well. So more power to him on that. So that's some of the things I want to talk about. But the other one is community. I know this community has been a little bit more fractured than usual, and I ask you all, and I challenge you, before going at each other, try to talk things out. It's amazing how people change when it's no longer 180 or 280 character limit, when they're actually talking. Do a hangout or something like that on Google and just chat it out. You might be surprised at how much more similar things we have to be addressed. And then maybe we can find that common ground, because it's sad to see little things breaking people apart, especially when they have a lot more they agree on. So just consider it. Let yourself cool off, because some of these people have been friends for a long time now, at least even just online, for a year plus, and they're having these outs. Wouldn't it be better to iron those out and be friends again? Once again, I can't push anybody to do that, but that's my thought on that. Let's try to turn the other cheek. Now, another thing, and here's where, once again, I'm a little guilty myself, I want to talk about is Dan Slott. Him tweets. For example, he did this thumbs up to a tweet. So he liked this tweet, evidently. He retweeted it. Said, "It's funny, I don't use a blockchain. All I did was put SJW in my banned words list, and boom, I don't see 90% of the douchebags on Twitter. One or two slip through, though." Huh. So that's interesting. Anybody that uses the term SJW is automatically a douchebag. That's classy. But, when it's coming from somebody like Dan Slott, would probably fits the term douchebag, he's, probably okay with it. He really just doesn't get it. And it's a sad thing to see. He doesn't understand that he is aggravating the customers. He gets it in his head that they're not, I guess. You know, I don't understand it. This tweet he posted here says, didn't want to do it, but I finally had to run a blockchain on one account's followers. If you feel you were unfairly blocked, sorry. First of all, I think he's insinuating because he doesn't have the guts to say who it was. That could be. I could be wrong there. Or he's just trying to be vague because he doesn't want the backlash. I don't know. I'm completely speculating. And he has the right to block if he wants to. But once again, guilty by association, Dan Slott. Didn't want to do it, but I finally had to run blockchain on one account's followers. So if you follow this person, you are guilty. You are guilty by association and you are bad. This is the same Dan Slott that had DMs and talked to Melissa Morg frequently. Really? You know, maybe he regrets that. I'm not saying he doesn't. But what I'm saying is to guilty block everybody by association is really a crappy thing to do. You have the right to do it, sure, but is it the right thing to do? It's the censorship. Again, these people that want equality love to censor. And that's probably my biggest point. They constantly talk about equality, but the second you disagree with him, you are no longer equal. You must be censored. I've seen this guy do this many times before. He believes he is above everybody else. He believes that that we have this platform out there, but you should not be able to use it if you disagree with him, because there's equal levels in his opinion of platform. Think about that. That's a freedom of speech thing. He doesn't believe you should have it if you disagree with him, but yet he believes in equality. He is using minorities as a shield. This is bullcrap. It's a power play. It's a promotion for himself. He's trying to look good, because if he really cared, he would look at the very people he blocked. The people he's blocking are all those people he claims to be a shield for, because Dan Slott is a hypocrite. He doesn't make sense. You know, he just doesn't get it. I would like to believe he means well, but he's just incredibly misguided and ignorant. Maybe that's the case. We see a lot of this stepping out now, and even I think more comic people are starting to step in to get on videos and interactions and discuss things on both sides. And you know what? I think that's a good idea. The more of that happens, the more they're humanized again, because they are getting dehumanized, just like the customer base. So I'm not pointing the finger at the customers here. The customer base has been dehumanized by these very people, comic writers and things, for a long time. And they're sick of it, and now they're speaking out. And now they have platforms, and they're being heard, and that's why people like Dan Censorship Man Slott want you silenced. Because you disagree with him, and now you have a platform, and he can't just shut you up with the block button like he used to on forums and things like that. The customer is striking back. The customer is demanding to be heard. You know, and this is not a give me credit, but I've been saying these are the customers long before DNC. It's just his platform's bigger and it reached out. And, you know, I'm glad for it. Because, once again, it's not a popularity thing. It's not, oh, my ego. No, I could care less. It's, hey, the message got out there. I'm happy. You know, there is no other business that allows the company to completely crap on the customers, give them lessons that they think they deserve, take your medicine even though you don't want it, and expect you to turn around and support them and buy them. You think they would have learned by now with the absolute horrid sales numbers, but they're playing a game of sales limbo. How low can they go? You know, it's really quite sad. So ultimately, here's my thing. Let's try to get together. I love what DNC is doing right now with supporting this idea of moving the needle. If there is reviewers that you've decided to try a book because of these reviewers and their reviews of these books, like Captain Cummings, Douglas Ernst, you know, Engeltine with I Love Comics, any of them, you know, Comics Division, there's so many. Okay, Nerd Wonder, Weaponized Nerd Rage, there's great ones, and more than I can name. I'm going to have to make a list one of these days, that way I can just read right down there. Conservative Nerd, I mean, I could just keep throwing them out there left and right. All these people deserve some recognition, or even myself, I guess. And if you do like that book, that dude, and make sure you share that online. Let's start doing that. We're going to show them. Let's turn it around and show them it's not a negative movement. It's a positivity movement. We want to share the good things. Yes, we will say when something sucks because we want it to be better, not because we want Marvel to go down. But let's also promote the good. When Marvel or DC does something phenomenal, let's continue to push that. I think we need to show that that's what we really are. All right, well, thank you for listening and taking the time for this. Please be sure to hit like and subscribe and hit that notifications bell. That's if you want, of course. It does help me get noticed and spread the word of my lonely channel. If you want to help Little Frugal, myself, and Little American Dream, which is my daughter, you can look down at that little bar right down below, the info bar, and you can click on our Patreon, and you can help for as little as $1 a month, and we would greatly appreciate that. That helps us, as you'll see there on the side, what we're going to be doing with that money. And so if anything you have questions about things, feel free to let me know. And until next time, keep it frugal.